My fiancée said, I need a break to figure things out. I said, then I found messages between her and her sister planning to trap me with someone else's baby. That was the headline of my week, going from planning a summer wedding to scorched earth in record time. My name is Chris, and at 29, I'm an inventory coordinator. It is boring, stable work, pulling in $58,000 a year. My fiancée, Sabrina, 26, and I had been engaged for 4 months. We were 5 months out from the wedding, and honestly, the thought of all those deposits felt like more of a commitment than she did. The text came through while I was checking a commercial shipping order. It was simple and direct. Hey, I've been thinking a lot lately. I need some space to figure things out. Not saying it's over, just need a break to clear my head. You understand, right? I read it twice. My stomach dropped, but my first reaction wasn't sadness or anger. It was a profound, wary relief. That told me everything I needed to know about where we were. I forced myself to finish the shipping manifest. I was checking before responding. We had been coasting for months. Back around Thanksgiving, she suddenly started working late, sometimes not getting home until 9 or 10 p.m. Her job was just data entry at an insurance company. She had always been home by 5:30. I started noticing a new perfume and the smell of takeout I hadn't seen. She claimed her boss was pushing hard for year-end closing and backlogged files. The story seemed thin, especially since her paychecks never reflected any overtime pay. Either she was working for free, or she was lying about where she was. The sex had completely stopped, too. The excuses piled up: tired, headache, wedding stress. By Christmas, I had stopped trying entirely. I was already emotionally gone. Kenny, my best friend from high school, operated a forklift outside my office. He saw my face and stuck his head in. You look like someone just told you your truck died. I told him Sabrina wanted a break. Kenny's eyebrows went up. What? 5 months out from the wedding. That's ice cold. I shrugged. I said, okay, take the time you need. What am I supposed to do? Beg her to want to marry me? That's pathetic. He nodded, leaning against my filing cabinet. You're right, but man, you know what this is, right? She's either got someone else, or she's testing you. Probably both. You're better off, Chris. That whole family is exhausting. She treats you like garbage. His brutal honesty cut through the numbness. He was right. That cookout last summer, her comments about my job, my truck, it wasn't a joke. It was disrespect. Hearing Kenny say it out loud validated the shift I had been observing for months. I knew I had dodged something, even if I didn't know the full extent of the bullet yet. I typed back to Sabrina, okay, take the time you need, no pushback. No desperate questions. If she wanted space, I would give her all the space in the world. I was ready for whatever came next. I clocked out on autopilot that evening. Arriving back at the apartment, I noticed Sabrina's car was gone, confirming she was likely at her sister Chloe's place, celebrating her newfound freedom. The apartment felt suffocating, stuffed with 3 years of her belongings spread across my space. I ordered takeout, ate while watching a game, and went to bed feeling profoundly numb and tired. The next morning, Thursday, my alarm went off at 6:30 a.m. I checked my phone, no texts, no calls. She had been gone all night and hadn't bothered to check in. I went through my normal morning routine, making coffee and getting dressed. That's when I noticed her large iPad Pro sitting on the kitchen counter, still plugged into the charger. She used it exclusively for wedding planning. I almost ignored it, but when I picked it up to move it, the screen lit up. The Messages app was still open, active on a conversation with Chloe. The most recent text, time-stamped late last night, jumped out. He actually said okay to the break, lol. Phase 1 complete. This is almost too easy. My stomach dropped like a stone. Phase 1. I sat down hard at the kitchen table, the coffee forgotten. I started scrolling up through their conversation. What I found over the next 10 minutes made me physically sick. The Messages went back weeks, a detailed, calculated record of an operation. Sabrina had been sleeping with a guy named Adam Wilson, the son of a church elder with commercial real estate money. They had been meeting since mid-October, sneaking around while I paid the bills and worried about fittings for the wedding suit. 4 months of lies were laid out like a journal. Then I saw the message from 3 days ago, the positive pregnancy test. 8 weeks. She didn't know if it was mine or Adam's. I scrolled further and found the plan, coached by Chloe step by step. Phase 1 was requesting the break to create distance and claim I was the one pulling away. Phase 2 involved staying at Chloe's and posting sad social media updates. Phase 3 was the reconciliation, saying she couldn't live without me. A Phase 4 announced the pregnancy shortly after, making me assume the timing fit. Phase 5 rushed the wedding to avoid paternity questions. The goal was clear. If I ever questioned the child's parentage, they would play the victim, making me look like the cruel husband. If DNA proved it wasn't mine, she would either keep lying and raise Adam's kid on my health insurance and salary, or divorce me and pursue Adam's family money. I read the text where she compared the two of us. Chloe asked about Adam. Sabrina replied, Adam makes me feel alive, but Chris is the safe choice. Can't beat a 760 credit score and someone who's already talking about buying property. She reduced me to provider material, an insurance policy with a decent credit score. The disgust was absolute. This wasn't a mistake. This was premeditated fraud. I systematically took screenshots of every message, emailed them to myself, and deleted the sent record. I carefully plugged the iPad back into the charger exactly where I'd found it. Then I picked up my phone, called work, and told them I was sick. I was done with waiting. My counter plan had begun. The cold, sick feeling of betrayal had been replaced by a focused, terrifying calm. Having secured the evidence, I spent the rest of Thursday ensuring my exit would be clean, legal, and financially airtight. This wasn't revenge. It was damage control. My first call was to the wedding venue. I confirmed the cancellation and was relieved to find that, since the date was still over 90 days away, I would receive a significant refund on our deposit. That was $500 lost, but $2,500 recovered. I also checked with my landlord to confirm that Sabrina was absolutely not on the lease. A fact Carlos, my legal assistant buddy, verified when I called him next. I asked Carlos to draft a written eviction notice, just in case. I acted completely normal on Friday, finished my shift, and let Sabrina back into the apartment that night to grab more clothes. She barely looked at me, saying she'd crashed on the couch at Chloe's. I didn't argue. I didn't engage. I was just buying time. Saturday was execution day. I told Sabrina I had errands. She was watching television and didn't even ask where I was going. My first stop was the bank branch, where we held the joint wedding account. For 8 months, we had each deposited $700 monthly. I spoke to a bank officer, Nadia, and requested a withdrawal of exactly my share, $5,600. She reviewed the account history. Legally, you can withdraw this. It's joint access with either party, she confirmed. 10 minutes later, I walked out with a check for $5,600. I drove 3 miles to a different bank and deposited it immediately into my personal account. Done. Next, I drove to Kowalski Jewelers. I had bought the engagement ring there 4 months prior for $4,800. The owner, a kind older man, recognized me. Wedding's off, I stated, setting the velvet box on the counter. He inspected the ring under his loupe, paused, and sighed. Perfect condition. I can offer 200. That's honest resale value. I took the check instantly. Better to find out now than 5 years in with kids, he said, handing me the paperwork. That gave me $7,800 back in my personal accounts. My total financial loss was minimal, and the venue refund was still pending. Carlos called me on the drive back. He confirmed the eviction notice was ready. Since she had lived there for more than a year, 30 days, written notice was required. But he said most people leave voluntarily rather than risk an eviction filing. I printed the notice he emailed and had everything ready. By 2 p.m., I was back home, stepping across the threshold to face the woman who thought I was nothing more than an open wallet. I walked into the apartment after securing the funds and the legal notice. Sabrina was on the couch, watching some reality show, looking comfortable and completely content in my space. I took a deep breath. It was time. Hey, can we talk for a minute? I asked, keeping my tone casual and even. She muted the television, but didn't look away from the screen immediately. Sure. What's up? I sat down across from her. I've been thinking about this break thing. I think you're right. We do need space. Actually, I think we need more than space. Her face shifted slightly, losing a fraction of its composure. What do you mean? I'm calling off the wedding, I stated simply. We're done. Silence. She stared at me, processing the words. What? You can't just? We can work through this. That's what the break is for. To figure things out. I did figure things out, I replied. We're not compatible anymore. Haven't been for a while. So, I'm canceling everything. Are you serious? We have deposits. We have plans. My family, she argued, her voice rising. I withdrew my share from the wedding account this morning, $5,600. You still have your half in there. You can do whatever you want with it. My preemptive action stole her financial leverage. Her face went from shock to pure outrage. You can't just take money out of our joint account! That's stealing! It was my money, I corrected her calmly. I took exactly what I put in. You still have yours. She stood up, her voice now loud and accusatory. This is crazy! You're throwing away 3 years because you're having cold feet. You're just scared. Nope. I'm just done. I pulled out the written eviction notice Carlos had prepared, printed on heavy paper, and handed it to her. Also, you need to move out. You've got 30 days to find a new place. She snatched the paper, reading the legal language. Her face flushed completely red. You're kicking me out? This is my home? It's my apartment, I countered, firm and unyielding. Your name's not on the lease. Never has been. Where am I supposed to go? You've been staying at Chloe's anyway. Figure it out. She looked at me, seeing a stranger where her compliant fiancé used to be. You're being completely unreasonable right now. I asked for space, not a breakup. Cool. Well, I'm giving you a breakup and 30 days notice. I stood up, grabbed my gym bag, and headed for the door. I left her standing in the living room, gripping the eviction notice, her carefully constructed safety net ripped away in 10 minutes. I knew the silence wouldn't last long. The chaos was about to begin. I had barely reached Kenny's place when the phone calls started. By Saturday night, everything had broken loose. I was watching the game with Kenny when Sabrina's mother, Marianne, called. Knowing Marianne cared more about appearances than truth, I let it go to voicemail. Her message was immediate and shrill. "This is absolutely unacceptable behavior! You made a commitment to my daughter and you need to honor that. We need to sit down and discuss this like adults. Call me back immediately." I deleted it without replying. Next, Chloe called. "What is wrong with you?" She started, skipping any greeting. "You just humiliated my sister. Do you have any idea what you've done?" "Yeah, I ended an engagement," I answered flightly. Pretty straightforward. She tried to hit me with legal threats. "You can't just kick her out. She lives there. That's illegal." "It's not illegal. I own the lease and gave her proper written notice. 30 days. She pivoted to accusation. "This is because you're insecure. You can't handle that she needed some space, so you're punishing her?" I almost laughed at the hypocrisy. "If you say so. Anyway, I've got dinner getting cold. Lose my number." I hung up. Sunday morning, Mr. Dennis, Sabrina's father, called. He was a solid guy, a retired electrician who was always kind to me. I answered immediately. "Hey, son. Got a minute? Heard about you and Sabrina. Want to hear your side before everyone loses their minds." I appreciated his approach. I gave him the basics. She asked for a break. I called off the wedding, I withdrew my money, and I gave her the eviction notice. I kept the conversation strictly focused on the wedding cancellation and the eviction. I carefully omitted the parts about the messages, the affair, and the pregnancy scheme. That ammunition was for a later war. He was quiet for a moment. "All right, that's fair. Can't say I blame you." "Thanks. My wife's losing it," he admitted. "Wants you to apologize and get back together. But between you and me, if a woman asks for a break right before the wedding, something else is going on." "I appreciate you saying that, Mr. Dennis." We hung up, and I knew I had his respect and trust, which was critical. Marianne tried calling me again 5 minutes later, this time with Mr. Dennis in the background. "You need to step up and fix this," she screamed into the phone. "This is humiliating for our family." Then I heard his voice cut through her hysteria. "Marianne, stop. The boy doesn't owe us anything. Sabrina's a grown woman who made her own choices." He shut her down completely. That was the last I heard from him, but Marianne kept trying, her calls ringing into my voicemail all day. The external pressure was intense, but I had the clear high ground. I hadn't even used my trump card yet. By Monday evening, the false narrative had spread throughout their social network. According to Kenny, the story going around was that I had been emotionally distant for months, refused counseling, and blindsided Sabrina with a breakup due to my own deep-seated commitment issues. There was no mention of her demanding a break, much less of Adam. While I was processing an order at work, my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unfamiliar number. "This is Adam. We need to talk about Sabrina." I stared at the name of the man who might be the father of her child. I texted back. "No, we don't." He immediately replied, "Yes, we do. You embarrassed her. She's a good person and you treated her like garbage. She told me everything, how you kicked her out with nowhere to go. That's messed up." This guy had incredible nerve. "Tell you what," I typed. "She's all yours. Congratulations." I blocked his number immediately. I had forced the first domino to fall. Tuesday morning, I came home from work to find Sabrina and Chloe inside my apartment. They had let themselves in using the key Sabrina still possessed. They were going through my belongings, packing up boxes. I saw them loading up my coffee maker, some of my dishes, and a lamp I had owned before I even met her. I stood in the entryway. "What are you doing?" Sabrina looked up, defiant. "Getting my things since you're kicking me out. You gave me 30 days, but I'm not waiting." Chloe stepped forward, aggressive. "We'll take whatever we want. You owe her for 3 years of putting up with you. You wasted her time. Now you're throwing her out. She deserves compensation." I immediately pulled out my phone and started recording a video. "Say that again for the camera." They both froze, Chloe's face turning instantly red. "You can't record us without permission!" "It's my apartment. I can record whoever I want in it. Now get out." Sabrina grabbed 2 boxes containing only clothes and toiletries, her actual belongings. Chloe grabbed one. At the door, Sabrina paused. "You're gonna regret this, Chris. I promise you." "Noted." "Leave your key on the counter." She threw the key at the wall, and it clattered to the floor. They left, slamming the door. I picked up the key and immediately called my landlord to let him know I was changing the locks that afternoon. The new locks went in later that day, and the siege was over. 2 days later, Thursday evening, Adam showed up at my door. I was cooking dinner when I checked the peephole and saw the business, casual guy, Adam. I opened the door but stood leaning against the frame, blocking entry. "Are you Sabrina's ex, fiancé?" he asked, shifting his weight nervously. "Can we talk for a minute inside?" "No." "Whatever you've got to say it from there." He cleared his throat. "Look, man, Sabrina's a mess. She cares about you. You guys should work this out. You sleeping with my fiancée, and now you're giving me relationship advice?" I said, unable to keep the scorn out of my voice. "That's bold." His face went pale. "What? Who told you that?" "Doesn't matter. You and Sabrina. Don't insult me by pretending you don't know what I'm talking about. She lied to you. Now leave before this conversation goes somewhere you don't want it to go." He looked like his world had fractured. "She said you guys were on a break." "We weren't. She's good at lying. Now leave." He walked quickly to his car and drove away. The truth was now out in the wild, aimed directly at his wealthy, religious family. 30 minutes later, Sabrina called me. "What did you say to Adam?" she demanded. "The truth." "You had no right! You're ruining everything!" "I'm ruining things. That's funny. He's freaking out now. His family's super religious." "Sounds like a you problem," I said. "You asked for a break, so you could baby trap me with a kid that might not even be mine while keeping Adam on the side. I read the messages between you and Chloe. All of them." Complete silence followed. Then, she whispered, "You went through my iPad. You left it unlocked on the counter. I saw enough to know exactly what you were planning. That's invasion of privacy, and what you were planning is fraud. So, I guess we're even." She hung up immediately. The full weight of the truth had landed, and the biggest confrontation was still to come. The revelation that I knew everything, and the subsequent confrontation with Adam, caused an immediate chain reaction. Adam, panicking, must have confessed to his family, who then involved the church elders. By Friday, the truth was spreading through their community. Mr. Dennis called me again. "What's this I'm hearing about Sabrina being pregnant? Is it true?" "You'd have to ask her, Mr. Dennis. She hasn't told me anything." "Is it yours?" "Couldn't be. We haven't been together in that way for almost 2 months." I paused. "The father is Adam, the church elder's son. It's been going on since October." He muttered something under his breath. Marianne's gonna lose her mind. Probably. He grew serious. Listen, I want to apologize for my daughter's behavior and for Chloe backing her up in all this. I raised them better. They've been spreading lies about you, and I've shut it down every time I hear it. For what it's worth, you handled this better than most men would have. I truly appreciated his sincerity. He explained that Adam's family had lawyered up, offering to pay for expenses related to the pregnancy if Sabrina agreed to leave Adam alone and not pursue a relationship. Meanwhile, Marianne was desperately trying to force Sabrina and Adam back together to salvage some public respectability. The church community was already tearing itself apart. That Saturday afternoon, Mr. Dennis told me he was done with the manipulation. He called both Sabrina and Chloe to his house for a family meeting. I learned the details later that night. He confronted them with everything he knew: the affair, the pregnancy, and the lies they were spreading. He demanded to see the messages between Sabrina and Chloe. When Sabrina refused, he gave her an ultimatum: show him the texts or get out of his house forever. She handed over the iPad. He sat and read every text, every callous comment about using me as provider material, and every detail of their fraudulent scheme. He turned to Chloe, demanding an explanation. She doubled down, claiming they were just trying to secure Sabrina's future and that I should have been honored to step up regardless of paternity. That was the breaking point. He told both of them they were cut off. No more money, no more support, no more enablement. Sabrina could live with Marianne if she wanted, but he was done. Chloe would also lose all financial help. Marianne tried to intervene, defending the girls, but Mr. Dennis cut her down, saying she was part of the problem, always prioritizing image over integrity. He told her she could enable their behavior, but she would do it without him. By Sunday, Sabrina had moved in with her mother, who was still futilely trying to control the narrative. Chloe was posting angry social media rants about family betrayal. The church community was in full civil war. Adam's family had demanded a paternity test before committing financially, which Sabrina was refusing, claiming it was an invasion of privacy. All the chaos, all the mess, was exactly what happens when people's lies finally catch up to them. She had rolled the dice on me being weak, and she had lost everything she was gambling for. Now, I was just waiting for the last piece to fall into place. 3 weeks passed in quiet routine. I went to work, hit the gym, and enjoyed the sudden, immense quiet of my apartment. The air felt lighter, without the underlying tension of Sabrina's schemes and my constant observation. I was living my life on my own terms again. One Tuesday evening around 8 p.m., as I was watching highlights and eating a leftover sub, there was a soft, hesitant knock on the door. I checked the peephole. It was Sabrina, looking rough, with a small duffel bag at her feet. I opened the door but stayed squarely in the frame, blocking entry. "What do you want? Can we talk, please?" Her voice was shaky, nothing like the defiant tone she'd used 3 weeks ago. "I need help." "Okay, talk." I didn't budge an inch. She glanced past me into the apartment, clearly expecting the old Chris to step aside. When I didn't move, she dropped her gaze. "Adam's family is threatening to sue me for defamation. His dad was kicked off the church elder board because of the scandal. They're turning everyone against me. Sounds familiar?" "My mom kicked me out," she continued, tears welling up. "Said I'm an embarrassment, and she can't have me living there anymore. My dad won't even talk to me." Chloe's broke. I have nowhere to go. Still not hearing a question. "I need to move back in." Just temporarily until I figure things out. I'll stay in the second bedroom. We don't have to interact. I just need a place to stay. I stared at the woman who had planned to trick me into raising another man's child. No, please. I'm pregnant. I can't be homeless. You're not homeless, I corrected her. You've got options. They just aren't convenient. You should have thought about this before you decided to run a con. Made mistakes? Okay. I messed up, but I'm still carrying a baby. Doesn't that matter to you at all? Not my baby. Not my problem. How can you be so heartless? She cried. Heartless. You planned to trick me into raising another man's kid while keeping Adam as your backup. You called me provider material like I was some kind of insurance policy. And now you show up here asking for mercy? I was scared, she pleaded. I didn't know what to do. You knew exactly what you were doing. You've lost everything. My family, my reputation, the church. Adam, you, everything. Yeah, that's what happens when people find out who you really are. So, that's it. You're just going to leave me with nothing. I'm not leaving you with anything. I'm just not saving you from the consequences of your own choices. You're 26 years old. You're not helpless. The baby is yours and Adam's problem, not mine. She stared at me, the hope draining from her face. I saw her realize that the old, accommodating Chris was truly gone. You should go, I said gently. I've got work tomorrow. You're really not going to help me. I really am not. She turned and walked away, her shoulders shaking, disappearing down the stairs. I closed the door, feeling no guilt, no anger, just a deep, final satisfaction. She had bet wrong on me being weak, and I had simply moved on. 2 weeks later, I put an offer on a small house in a quiet neighborhood. 3 bedrooms, solid bones, a place that would be completely mine. My offer was accepted. Kenny helped me move the furniture I kept, and Carlos helped me with the paperwork. Through the grapevine, I heard Sabrina eventually moved 2 hours away to live with a distant relative. She had the baby and took Adam to court for child support. The paternity test confirmed the child was Adam's, and his family settled for a monthly payment with zero custody or visitation. They wanted nothing to do with her or the kid. Chloe was forced to get a real job after their father kept his word and cut off support. As for me, I kept working, improving the house, and living life on my terms. I had faced my greatest fear of being financially and emotionally used, and I had walked away completely intact, ready to start fresh in a space that was entirely my own. I kept working, kept improving the house, and kept living life on my terms.